Donald Trump losing to Kamala Harris in 3 national polls. VP Harris's national campaign is off to a running start after she was able to raise $81 million in 24 hours solely from grassroots donors. People like you and I donating $20, $50. That is not even counting the millionaire donors that will start pitching in very soon. Vice President Kamala Harris, the current leading candidate to replace Joe Biden as a Democratic presidential nominee, she most likely will be the nominee. There's a very high chance, is leading former President Donald Trump in 3 national polls. I want to break down this article, but first, VP Harris spoke at her campaign headquarters. I want you guys to listen to this clip. She sounds very presidential, very great. She destroys Donald Trump, and it already went viral with 26,000 likes. Watch.
So in the days and weeks ahead, I, together with you, will do everything in my power to unite our Democratic Party, to unite our nation, and to win this election. You know, as many of you know, before I was elected as Vice President, before I was elected as United States Senator, I was the elected Attorney General, as I've mentioned, of California, and before that I was a courtroom prosecutor. In those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds.
She's doing great.
Predators who abused women. Fraudsters who ripped off consumers. Cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
The rest is just cheering, but great work from VP Harris there. Very effective at calling Donald Trump out, and that is exactly what I wanted. If you guys have been watching my videos a lot, I kept saying, I just want Democrats to come out swinging and articulate why Donald Trump is such a threat, why Donald Trump is such a terrible person, that he's civilly liable for rape, and she hit the nail on the head there. She is coming out swinging, not pulling any punches. That is why Donald Trump is scared, because he's also losing in the polls. Biden announced he would not be seeking re-election on yesterday, and endorsed Harris as his successor. The decision came after he faced increasing political pressure to stand down with fellow Democrats donors, we know that. While Trump has consistently led both Harris and Biden in most national polls, in 3 polls this month, all conducted before Biden stepped down, Harris narrowly led Trump in a hypothetical head-to-head, with each of her leads falling within the margin of error. So this was recent. This was after the debate. Harris is doing well. She's narrowly leading Trump, and this is before she's even campaigning. This is before she's coming out swinging and saying stuff like this. Imagine when she gets to national stage for the first time in a debate or some sort of rally, and she goes hard against Donald Trump. She should be winning in the polls. The most recent national poll, putting Harris in front, was conducted by Marist for NPR and PBS News between July 9th and July 10th and surveyed 1,300 adults. Harris garnered 50% support compared to Trump's 49%, with just 1% of respondents remaining undecided. The poll had a margin of error of plus or minus 3.3. Marist is a reputable pollster according to aggregator 538, which ranks the firm 6th on its list of 277 firms for its historical track record and transparent methodology. So, this reputable pollster has Kamala Harris, VP Harris, beating Donald Trump by 1 point, again, before she's even campaigned whatsoever, before they've sunken millions, hundreds of millions of dollars into ads on TV. The second most recent national poll, with Harris leading, was conducted by Ipsos for ABC News between July 5th and July 9th. It presented a similar picture, with Harris leading Trump by 2 percentage points, receiving 42% of the vote to Trump's 40%. The poll, which surveyed 2,431 adults, also revealed that 4% of respondents would vote for someone else and 14% would not vote at all. The margin of error for this poll was plus or minus 2.1 percentage points. Ipsos is also considered a reputable pollster. 538 ranks at 17th out of 277. The third poll, conducted by Ben Dixon and Amandi International for ABC News from July 2nd to July 6th, with 1,000 likely voters, also showed Harris with a slight advantage advantage over Trump. Harris received 42%, while Trump received 41%. The poll indicated that 5% of respondents would vote for someone else and 12% were undecided. Despite some national polls showing Harris in the lead, other national polls have Trump leading, and Trump currently leads or ties polling in all of the most important swing states. But something I want you guys to consider is that if President Biden genuinely decided that dropping out would be the best, that means they have some information on the back end, some polling information that shows that Harris is incredibly competitive with Trump. And the reason why Trump had a meltdown on Truth Social and why Republicans are freaking out is because they also have some information on the back end showing that Trump is losing to VP Harris. This article also reads, Donald Trump really wanted to run against Biden and, quote, is worried about facing Kamala Harris. Donald Trump and his advisors are not happy about Joe Biden's decision to drop out of the 2024 presidential race, multiple sources tell People following the historic announcement. Also keep in mind, Joe Biden did it at a very clever time after they spent 4 days at the RNC railing against Biden. They wasted countless airtime, countless speeches, countless stage time just railing against a candidate who is no longer the candidate. I was just watching JD Vance's second speech of the day. He is going hard and doing rally after rally. They are really ramping up the amount of appearances they are doing over there on the Republican side, but JD Vance had to switch out all of the pronouns and all of the names in his speech, so he kept saying the Harris administration, he kept saying Kamala Harris's failed Afghanistan pullout, when obviously the words were Joe Biden just a few days prior. This article continues, in recent weeks, the Trump campaign has been buoyed by Biden's performance at the first 2024 presidential debate, which heightened voters' doubts about the president's cognitive ability. Now, however, the Trump campaign and the Republican Party as a whole find itself grappling with a challenge of reshaping its campaign strategy around a new candidate totally. Quote, this will suck tons of oxygen out of the room, a Florida-based source tells People, adding, Trump's touchdown spotlight will dim for a while. The announcement that Biden was leaving the race and endorsing VP Harris to take his place also means that Trump is now facing a candidate nearly 2 decades his junior. Quote, he says he can topple Kamala Harris as easy as he could topple Biden, but deep down he is scared of her youth, a second political source in Florida tells People. Of course, she may not be the candidate, but if she is, she's also aware of her political and legal brilliance and deep understanding of the issues facing the American people. Dave Ehrenberg, state attorney for Palm Beach County and a former member of the Florida State Senate, tells People that the Trump campaign, quote, clearly thought they could beat President Biden, but they are less sure about their odds facing Harris. And that also lines up with the polling that we just read that shows they're competitive, and lines up with the fact that Biden dropped down in the first place, showing that there is polling showing that Donald Trump would lose to Kamala Harris. Trump is worried and has been worried, and his allies have been worried, but Trump knows how to fake confidence, a fourth political source tells People. The former president felt more confident with a disorganized Democratic Party, and honestly, I feel more confident now that our party is once again organized. There was about a month there where our coalition was not intact and we were not quite on message, and during that month, Donald Trump almost got assassinated. We had multiple Supreme Court rulings that could ruin our country, and the Democrats weren't quite on message. I understand that people were going out there and taking Republicans down. Gavin Newsom was doing a good job. President Biden even gave some appearances, but it wasn't quite enough. We were talking more about President Biden's age than we were even talking about the Supreme Court, and that was bothering me. I have to spend a lot more time in this country, and I want to be talking about the institutions that Republicans are currently tearing down. If you agree, make sure you leave a like on this video, comment a blue heart, hit that subscribe button, go join the Mockler subreddit. Most importantly, have a great day.